this is definitely something important. Yeah, this was a building of significance. All right, this is good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. Welcome to Idria. We're in the San Benito Mountains. In fact, we are actually in the southwest corner of the Diablo Mountain Range. Now, we're here because this is an old cinnabar mining camp. Cinnabar, the more modern term for that is Mercury, which is what it's called these days. Now, by the turn of the 19th century, Mercury was being used for such things like a lot of medicinal things, industrial uses, explosives, thermometers, dental fillings, and even mirrors. Now, put this in the context of history. By the time cinnabar was discovered here in Idria in 1854, the prospecting of gold in California had already been going on for at least 5 years, that beginning, of course, in 1849. Now, cinnabar plays a key role in the processing of gold ore. All right, so when mercury is mixed with gold ore, what it does, it bonds to the gold particles, and it mixes into what is it's a paste. They call it amalgam. Amalgam is then roasted or baked in ovens, and the mercury actually vaporizes. And what it does, it leaves behind only the gold. Now, with the gold rush running at full steam and a few dozen mercury mines around this area, there seemed to be an endless supply of cinnabar. Now, curiously, when the initial mining operations began here in 1851, prospectors were actually looking for silver. But what they discovered instead was an abundance of chromite, which basically that's kind of a worthless ore that they initially had mistaken for silver. Now, as fortune would have it, many of these early miners actually had worked at the New Maiden mines, which is outside of what is today San Jose, where cinnabar had been discovered. So while here at Idria, they quickly recognized these pockets of cinnabar, and a lot of them actually would make their own claims to them. And of course, that would initiate about a 40-year battle over who had rights over the cinnabar mines here in Idria. Now, as you can imagine, mining is some pretty tough work, and the miners here would spend as much as 6 hours a day in the mines with minimal water. And check this out, some of these guys would actually rappel into the mines by rope, hand over hand while walking down the wall of rock. And then if that weren't enough, wow, look at this. If that weren't enough, the processing of ore itself after it was extracted from the mines was also a major hazard. Now the mercury would be crushed, the mercury ore would be crushed into smaller pieces, and then it was heated or roasted in these giant rotary shaft furnaces, and I'm going to show you some of that here in a little bit, or at least the ruins of them. And that releases the mercury as a vapor. The vapor then exits the, well, look at this, you guys. Now that mercury is released as a vapor into a series of pipes or heat exchangers, as it were, and where it's cooled and then condensed back into a liquid and then collected. Now here's a fun fact. The process of roasting and condensing is called retorting, if I'm saying that right. And it's still the standard for use today, to this day. Now, sadly, because the mercury is highly toxic, there were a lot of reports that many of the miners would ruin their health, get this, inside of a week of processing the ore. Now, back in those days, there was no shortage of miners, even with the risk, because wages were as high as $20 a day, which that was an exceptional wage for miners back in the day. Look at that old Chevrolet truck down there. Wow, how long has that been there? We're going to see if we can walk. I think this is all restricted, but man, I'd sure like to ride down in or walk down in there. I don't think we can get there, y'all, but that's okay. We have some zoom lenses, and I've got the drone, so I'll definitely be showing you plenty of that. Now, there were other, you can call them man-made hazards. Well, I guess those are all man-made hazards. But there were other hazards that were kind of driven by the economics of the time. The miners were actually paid in gold coin, and that was simply because back in the early days, there was simply not much access to currency, U.S. currency. Gold coin was far more easy to get. So the miners were often paid in gold coin. Now, that gold coin was brought in by coach. And so as you can imagine, that created a lot of opportunity for thieves. Reading some old newspaper articles, or at least reading stories from old newspaper articles, a lot of the miners were actually killed on payday. So yeah, anyway, that practice ended about in the 1880s and 90s because more U.S. currency became available, even in these remote sites like Idria. So yeah, things settled down, but yeah, the first few decades, it was rough being a miner. Job hazards and on payday. This is a beautiful area, boy, especially in the wintertime. Look at this. Now, this area would become home to a lot of bandits. It's remote, not a lot of law enforcement. Definitely very attractive to a lot of your bandits. One of those, this was a Tiburcio Vasquez. And again, this was definitely one of his favorite hideout areas, which is interesting because one of the other bandits that we talked about while we're doing our Hornitos video was a Joaquin Marietta, who I'm told, I don't know if this is truth or legend, but his gravesite is a little bit southwest of where we are right now. This is fascinating, guys. Wow. Now, in the early days of New Idria, the nearest town, which is still 73 miles away, was this town of San Juan Bautista. Back then it was just called San Juan. Now, back in the early days, San Juan had a population of only about 700 people, and yet it supported about 70 bars and a similar number of what they called fancy houses. Yeah, I'll let you draw your own conclusion on what that means, but a lot of these guys enjoyed leaving Idria to spend some time in San Juan. Now, during the early days in Idria, it was supplied primarily by the nearest town, which, as we mentioned, was San Juan. Now, miners and supply wagons would travel the Panoche Pass through the Diablo Range. That roadway would one day dictate the route that we followed today on the way out here, which is Panoche Road and New Idria Road. And these two roads would actually connect them to the Southern Pacific Railroad in Piscines, which, by the way, that right-of-way was built in 1873. Man, I really want to get back into that valley. I wish we could. And I don't know if I mentioned it just now, but that horse and wagon routine in bad weather, it could take up to 2 to 3 days just to get from San Juan out here to Idria. And today, yeah, even on this bumpy road that we used to get here, it's less than 2 hours. All right, this is, I'm not sure if this is New Idria Road or Clear Creek Road. But we came in from the east, and I'm going to call this the main street of town. I don't know that it is, but it's the only road that really remains to this day. So I'm going to call it Main Street. But if you continue on this road, going west, it'll take you through the San Benito Mountain Range right there, or the San Benito Mountains here in the Diablo Range. And it will take you all the way out to Kalinga Road, which you cross Clear Creek to get to Kalinga Road. And then a handful of miles to the west is Highway 25. All right, these are private property, so I'm not going to walk into the buildings, but definitely going to look inside. Look at this. Look at this. All this runoff. Wow. All right. When I look at these buildings, I always want to know, what were they? You know what? What was this building? Look at that sediment all over the floor. Wow. Looks like storage closets. Was this a? Oh wow. I wonder if this was a boarding house for the miners, because you got a lot of what look like closets right there. Big open room with windows. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe this is a boarding house. If any of you know actually what it was, please let us know. And it looks like the same, only on the other side of the house. Just sediment all around us here, and actually being washed into the building itself. Look at this old fence. Oh, wow. That looks like, a lot of beds. Oh, wow. No idea what this one was, but it's been long gone. Wow. Fence line. Look, that used to be a gate right there. See the hinge? So what was this here? Ooh, look at that roof. Look at that mountain behind it though. That is pretty. It's interesting to see how beautiful this area is right now, but in the summer, ooh, it is dry and dusty here. All right, this looks very similar to what we saw before. So I'm thinking these are boarding houses. That are motel rooms, one of the two. Because look, see, here's that, I was calling it a closet earlier. There that is. But here they still have the wall. So yeah, boarding house or hotel, I'm pretty sure. Now that is interesting. On a lot of your homes, they call these crow's nests. Is that what that is? I wonder what that was up there up top. All right, and this one, you can still get inside this as well. Let's see if we can figure out what this building is. This. Oh yeah, the tile back there, you can see where the water was, so yeah. Yeah, I wonder what this was. Restaurant, perhaps?
Perhaps.
A miner's hall? Yeah, that is interesting. Some ductwork back there, so this, this town was operating all the way up until 1972. Yeah, this is definitely something important. Still a table over here. Lots of these old tables, dining tables, cabinets. Look at this, a desk. Yeah, this was a building of significance. Yeah, this is wow. I would guess this one was probably operating, if not all the way until 1972. Probably very, very close to that date. Wow. Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Seems like no campfires, but.
You think that beer's still good? Aged? Probably a little flat?
Looks like that color.
It does. Yeah, is that what that was, a bus stop? Maybe, huh? Yeah, you can see there was a bulletin board. And this is where your ticket agent was, perhaps? Or oh, wait a minute, was this an outhouse? 2 doors. See any holes in the ground? We're not going to lift boards to check, right? We're not that curious? That is interesting. All right, Tim just came up with, he figured it out. It's the mess hall. This was a mess hall. But here's what I want to show you. Something I didn't even notice before. So yeah, I think Tim's onto something. This is probably the mess hall. But look at this. There's a tree in the way now, but look, that's the old boardwalk. All the way to what I believe to be the company store. And I'm going to show you why I think that was the company store. But yeah, look at this old boardwalk. And that would make sense from the mess hall to the company store. And right behind us is what we think is the bus stop. And may have been the carriage stop before there were buses, of course. So this would have been kind of like the center of town, right? The hub, you might say. And look at this. We got a bench outside. Oh man, this is why I love doing this. Look at this, we got the bench outside. Sorry I'm breathing so hard, but yeah, definitely doing some fast hiking up and down hills here. We'll look inside here. All right, I am cheating a little. Look, here's the checkout counter. The checkout counter here. Storage. Oh, look at all these shelves. Look at this. Man, oh man, oh man. More shelves in the back. Shelves here. Look at this, all these barrels. So what would have been in these barrels? Yeah, if you know, help us out, let us know. But yeah, company store, look at that. All along the wall. Wow, there's still things up on the shelf. But I don't have my hiking boots on, so I'm not gonna walk over and see it. Oh, hold on. Look, in here, bottles of salad dressing. That I can see. Something in boxes up on the corner shelf over here. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, I don't know if those are beer bottles or what, but oh, these are canned goods. Yeah, these are all canned goods. Oh, through here. Look at that. Wow. All along the floor. All right, I did not see a no trespassing sign, which is why I'm here. But I might be trespassing. Look at all this. All right, what do we got here? We're going around the back side of the company store. Oh, is that a restroom back there? Maybe. All right, another interesting fact as we hike around our general store, our company store. The population here in Idria peaked in 1880, and the mine became, well, at that point, was very, very prosperous. The population here, with the miners and their families, and all the supporting services here, stores and so forth, hit almost 4,000 people. And that, interestingly enough, was about 60% of the population in San Benito County at that time. That's just amazing. This place was busy. Oh, look, here's an old foundation. Oh, look at this, and a concrete walkway between the buildings. So what was this? Look at this. This looks like it was the kitchen area. Storage. Maybe a prep area. More storage. Oh, look at this. Oh, the bathrooms. Bathrooms, look at this. All right. Toilet. Another toilet. This would have been the wash basin. Another toilet area. Toilet, you gotta love that. Now we're back out front. All right, this is good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. And Tim and I were just talking. I think these buildings here, the miners' hall here, or chow hall, whatever it was, and the company store we just came from, those look like they were in operation all the way up until the end, 1972. Okay, y'all, this is the main processing plant. This is where they have those 4 rotary furnaces we were talking about. In fact, you can see the chutes right there. And again, I don't know how this works. I'm not going to pretend like I do. However, I think it'd be safe to say that, is this where the mercury came out after they roasted it and then recondensed it? Maybe so. I'm going to put I'll put the drone up for a moment. We're going to get some photos of that. But look at this. That is, oh wow, that's outstanding. Look at that. How cool is that? What a cool sight. And Tim put his drone up already. Here we go. If I didn't mention it before, there was a post office here, and that post office was put into service in 1869. And I read it, but I forgot to put the date of when it was shut down. But I believe it was shut down in 1972. I'll look that up and put that on the screen for you. Yeah, but look at that. That was quite the building. And then back down this way, if I haven't already put that in the video, I will. I think this was a residential area. You can see the buildings up there on the side of the hill. All right, I think it's time to get some photos. Welcome to historic New Idria mine. I've been calling it Idria. There's a video link I'm going to put. It's a YouTube video link I'm going to put in the description, and it's to a lady that used to live here. Her name was Kate Woods. She passed away in 2017, but again, she was a resident here for a while. I think this whole video I've been saying New Idria. She pronounced it New Idria. And if I remember correctly, she said it was named after a mine way up in northern Italy. Now, I've not researched that, but I believe that's what she said in her video. But again, I'll put a link to her video down below in the description. And around this building, they're serious. There's signs all, nice new fence, signage all along. But yeah, wow. Oh, look at the steps up to it there. Those are long gone as well. Looks like there's a opening there. The tunnel, or at least the passageway beneath the main plant. Wow. That is something. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. All right, I'm getting jealous here. Tim has a good idea. That sun's going to be behind that mountain real soon. I'm going to see if I can get up here and get some photos of this while we still have a little bit of sunlight. All right, so here we go. Tim found something he showed me. Look at this. One creek, perfectly clear. Another one. It's the red tint that you get from the mercury in the soil. Which leads us up to the, let's wrap this video up. This mine operated from 1854 until 1972. And in that period of time, the New Idria mines produced over 44 million pounds of mercury. Now, adjusted for inflation, that's about $1.5 trillion US dollars in that time span. All right, we walked up on this. I thought from Google Maps, like maybe this is a home, but this is obviously a, Tim found a really good view of the ovens here. All right, so what we're looking at, you guys, is right over here. There's 3 ovens. And that's obviously all iron. Yeah, what is that, like a fab table up top? Anyway, it's a mystery what it is, but yeah, right through here. I don't know if it's storage or what, but obviously this was not a home. Wow. So when World War I began, by the time it began, the New Idria mines had become the largest producer of mercury in the Western Hemisphere. And then only 2 decades later, at the conclusion of World War II, the demand for mercury had already gone into a steep decline. And along with that steady decline, there was increasing concerns about the hazards mercury posed to the environment and public health. These factors would inevitably lead to the closure of the New Idria mines in 1972. The EPA would become interested in the site probably about 2008. And then by 2011, the EPA would put this on the national priorities list due to excessive mercury and asbestos runoff. And again, we can still see some of the remnants of that in that red water back there. All right, I feel good about today. How do you feel about today, Tim?
Great.
You think we did it?
We did it. Finally.
Finally. I was telling Tim, I've never had to cancel a trip 4 times.
One was my fault.
None of them are your fault.
I was sick.
You were sick. That's not your fault. It's not like you planned that. So, well, unless you use that as an excuse, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I feel good about today. I think we did it. Was it worth the wait? Was it worth the second attempt?
It was.
Yeah, I think so. It's a good day, you guys. Hope you enjoy the video. Put a lot of effort into this one. A lot of research into it. Burned a lot of Tim's gas. Put a lot of miles on it. I did pay for it. But it's his truck, so I figured that's a fair trade. My yeah, appreciate y'all tagging along. We will see you in the next video. All right, say goodbye, Tim.
Later.
All right.